Hey you guys, so I am finishing up my makeup. I've already done my base. And I figured that I would do like a story time, like get ready with me. It's New Year's Eve and I'm about to go have dinner with my mother and just do something with her. And I was listening to this song and I thought to myself, oh, well, I should do this story time. So this story is about how I practically was a side chick, unwillingly. So I was in college and this guy that I had met when I was at work, I worked at the Super Center in Springdale, and I worked in the jewelry department. So of course, like when you go into the Super Center, there's like a jewelry case, and like that's what I did. So one day, this tall cowboy walks in, Wranglers, I mean the whole nine, and he's like asking if I know where the sunglass holders were. And I was like, oh no, but let me ask. So I had asked a few people, like if they knew where they were that worked there. And I'm like, oh no, we don't know where they are. And so he was like, oh, well, thanks anyways. And he's like, what's your name? I'm like, Bryson. So after that, like, I was like, oh, he was so handsome. And, obviously I would have loved to have seen him again. But at that time, I was like, where would I see him at? So fast forward to that weekend, I ended up going to this drag show, and he's there. So, but the gag was he was there on I don't know if he was on a date with this girl, but there was a girl there that liked him, and obviously, like, she was trying to impress him, and he wasn't really having it. And so, he saw me, and he was, like, hanging out, and, like, chatting with me, and I was like, oh, how cute, like, he's so nice. So, him and I started talking or whatever and vibing, and he was just like a really, really nice guy, obviously. And this girl, she was a little salty. I mean, if I was her, I would have been salty too. I mean, to be on a date with this guy and all of a sudden he just like blows you off. So, so him and I start talking or whatever. She's pissy. And, obvious, she's really into him. So after that night, like, him and I exchanged numbers, and he ended up, like, texting me a few times or whatever, or we started talking. Well, then, come to find out, child, he was joining the military, and he was leaving for, like, basic training or whatever. And so I was like, oh, dang, like, that's awkward timing. So, at that point, I was like, oh, well, I probably won't really see him. So, he joins the military and then comes home. And as soon as he gets home, he ends up, marrying this girl that he was on a date with. So, y'all already know. I was like, whatever. And so, they get married. I start talking to him. And that was that. Well, fast forward about 2 years after that, I was working in a salon and he was out shopping one day and he saw me through the window and he walks in and he's with his wife. So he walks in and he's like, oh, hey, how are you? I hadn't seen you in so long. And I was like, oh, hey, how are you? And he was like, I'm really good. I didn't know you were doing hair now. He's like, maybe I should come in and get my hair done. And if y'all know me, like, I don't have a problem with doing anyone's hair. Like, if you want your hair done, buddy, come get it done. Cash is cash as long as it's green. So he comes in and, like, is flirting with me. And then all of a sudden she's sitting out at the door looking like, oh, hot potato, honey. She was mad. So he ended up like messaging me on Facebook or whatever. And like him and I started chatting, and that's when he let me know like they really weren't together. That like their marriage had was pretty much a sham. Like pretty much like they were just staying married. So like for like financial reasons, like their parents were helping them. So, and he was like, we're sleeping in different rooms, whatever. So him and I started talking and like, not talking, but like we were like friends. So obviously I was like, well, you're still married technically. So you ain't got nothing for me. So we start talking or whatever, and then all of a sudden he starts sending like pics, like, nudes and things like that. And obviously like I knew where he felt like where it was going. Okay, so I just finished my brows off camera and just contoured and blushed a little. And so now I'm just going to set my face with this e.l.f. Illuminizing Setting Spray. For whatever reason, I really like this. If y'all know me, y'all know I usually only use MAC Fix Plus, but... Okay, so after he started sending, like, nudes and stuff, I was like, oh, well, obviously, like, I knew the tea. Like, I knew, obviously, he liked me or whatever. So, I honestly, like, felt the same way. I was like, you know, you're still married. Like, obviously, we're not going to be dating. Like, I don't know what kind of girl you take me for, but what I'm not is a harlot. So, he ended up, like, getting frustrated. And I had this hoe-ass neighbor who I guess he, like, went to high school with. And she let me know that, because I was talking to her about him one day. And she was telling me that her girlfriend was sleeping with him and had been sleeping with him for months. So here I am, already, like, you know, being 2-timed. And I'm being 3-timed at this point. Because he's, like, still aptly trying to, like, date me or whatever. So, I mean, I was, like, livid. So, like, I called him out on it. Like, you know, I was like, look, boo, like, that ain't cute. That ain't it. Like, this ain't it. This ain't what you want. So, after, like, going off on him or whatever, like, we, like, stopped talking. Because, like, I didn't see the point. After him and I stopped talking for a while, he like, popped back up. And he apologized. And we were friendly again. Well, child, tell me why. One day he's texting me and I'm like working. So I have no clue what he wants or like why he's messaging me. So I get my phone and it's like, hey, this is so-and-so's wife. And I'm like, oh, this bitch got bold. So pretty much what happened was his wife took his phone and was like, him and I are getting back together. I know that you were hoping that something would happen between you two, but it's not. Because I married him and you didn't. You were too late and it didn't work. And now I'm pregnant and we're going to be together. Goofed. He'll randomly pop up and like DM me. Well, let me tell y'all the gag. So the gag was a few months ago. I was in Northwest Arkansas. And I was like helping out with like this basketball tournament. I walked into the Walmart Supercenter, not the one that I used to work with, a different one. And I walk right past her, and there he is, honey, looking gooped. So at this point, I walk past, and he's standing there looking stupid, and she's standing there looking stupider. Like, honestly, like, I really wanted nothing to do with either one of them. Like, he's sitting here DMing and sleeping with all of Northwest Arkansas, and you're sitting there proud to be married to this guy. So even though you think you're the main chick, you're really the side chick, because he has 100 other side chicks. Like, it was a mess. Child, I didn't even get good and back inside the car, and then there he was DMing me, honey, with this little popcorn shrimp hanging out. And I just had to hit him with the, sir, you do not meet maximum or minimum height requirements to ride this ride, so I'm going to need you to refrain sending those lewd photos before I screenshot this and send it to your wife. So after that, he must have felt some type of way because he blocked me from Facebook. But the gag is, I have a secret Facebook account, so I'm still watching. Anyways, I hope y'all liked this little get ready with me video. I just want to just tell y'all this story because I was listening to Sis of the Weekend and I just had to tell y'all about when I was almost a side chick. Anyways, I hope y'all are having a good week. Remember, subscribe. Bye.